welcome back to another episode of yep, you guessed it, you're here, you've probably clicked on this somewhere, but yes, it is another episode of the Inner City Hermit. I thought I'd change up how I said Inner City Hermit because I've been doing a lot of editing a lot of my older videos, and I seem to actually realize that I say Inner City Hermit exactly the same every time. I even made like a little cutaway video that I was going to put on Instagram of me just saying Inner City Hermit over and over again. But I know you don't want to hear that because you're probably sick of it. But yes, it is another episode. We are up to episode 11 now. This will be 11. It is crazy. It's crazy for me, mainly because I did not think I was going to stick this out. I thought once I finished, or once I had all that little bit of a hiatus, I thought that was it. I'm not going to do this anymore. But we persevered, we got there, and now we've hit double digits. We have hit double digits. Well, we hit double digits last time, but we're in the double. You get what I mean. We're in the double digits right now, and we're still charging, which is great. It's been a great week this week. It's had a four day week. Shout out to anyone in Brisbane. I don't know if it's Queensland maybe. Eka show day. Eka's on. The bloody Eka's on. I can actually see it. I can actually look at it right now. I can see the Vomitron spinning around right from where I am. And it's great. It's good. I love the Eka. Not really into like the whole animal side of things. That's not a vegan thing. That's just me. The cows, I remember going and seeing the cows when I was younger, and I didn't realize how big a cow was until I stared like face to face. Well, actually, they're spun round. So as I was walking through, all you see is cows' asses, which is quite funny that everyone kind of lines up to go through the cows, and they're tied up at the wall. So all you're really seeing is just like assholes and udders. Eka's on. It's good. I like having that. It's kind of nostalgic. I haven't gone in a couple years, but you know, I went a lot as a kid, and it's one of those things that even though I don't go when it rolls around, I still get this I catch a little bit of a vibe of it, and you know, I just remember going with my family all the time. It was a really fun day, and it was kind of funny because like you could go to a theme park for exactly the same price, but suddenly going to the Eka was more enticing for some reason. And I remember I go with my parents. This is when I was about 10 years old, and we go, and because you had to pay for rides at the Eka, it's not like a theme park. And I remember just choosing. I had to choose like 3 rides every year because mum and dad had only let me go on 3 rides because it cost like a shitload of money to get on a ride. And I remember like doing my research. I'd be like leading up to the weekend that I'm going to go, and I'd do my research. Oh yeah, this ride's new, sick, looks kind of sketchy. Maybe I can get on it and see if I survive. But I used to get really excited by that. And of course I used to get really excited by the show bags. I used to be able to get 3. I used to get one novelty one, which is always the Pokemon one. I still, whenever I know my mates are going, I always hit them up like, can you get me a Pokemon bag? Even though nothing really in it fancies. I fancy anything in it. I just love it for this nostalgic purposes. And I remember getting 1 chocolate, 1 lolly, and I used to like literally hoard all the candy, all the lollies in a bag, and it used to be my stash. It used to set me up for like 6 months, and I used to put on lots of weight after eating all the lollies. So yeah, Eka's on. It's really good. Tell you what's not good though, living right next door to it, and I get the 6:30, 8:30 fireworks every fucking night. So people kind of come over and they're like, oh, this is so amazing, you know, you get fireworks every night. And I'm like, yeah, feels like I'm in Iraq. Like there's just bombs going off 24/7. And after a while, you sit there, you're like, far out, I'm done with this. They can wrap it up. I'm sick of the fireworks. And we even had the monster trucks last night. Didn't think the monster trucks the sound would be as loud as it was, but it bounced around the buildings, and your boy was stuck in his apartment, and it sounded like all hell was breaking loose. So yeah, Eka's on. It's good. I get the holiday out of it. 4-day week. Unbloody believable. But yeah, it has been a good week. It's been a really good week. The Hermit is finally on Facebook. I did a little bit of research because I'm a kook. Had no idea how to start a Facebook page properly. And yeah, I started one up. So if you want to type in Inner City Hermit on Facebook, you can chuck that page a like. I don't know. I'll probably start using that more than Instagram because Instagram's so just touchy and annoying. But whatever you follow it on, it's all good. But anyway, yeah, I was doing some thinking, as I do, and I always find to do, I think I've said this numerous times, I do a lot of thinking in the car, because I do a 40-minute trip to work and then a 40-minute trip home from work. So it gives me about, I don't know, an hour and 20 minutes to kind of have a bit of a think about life. And it was really hard to think this time round this week, because I noticed that I hated something. And the hatred I had for this thing actually distracted me, because it's like, when you notice something and then all of a sudden you notice that thing fucking everywhere, and you go from never being able to see this thing or seeing it every once in a while to all of a sudden you see it everywhere. And for me, this thing, I'm going to call it a thing because it's disgusting and I hate it, but the Nissan Cube. The Nissan Cube. It is the worst car fucking ever. It's the worst car I have ever seen in my entire life. And I've seen so many of them. And the more I see it, the more frustrated I get that this is something that people buy. Not only has this car got through some, big shots at Nissan, probably sat around a table, and they were thinking of ideas for new cars, and some dudes probably just looked at a box in the corner of the room and just thought, cubes. Nissan Cube. We're going to make a car that is shaped like a fucking box. That's what we're going to do, because that's what people want. And you know what's even worse than that? It got passed, and now people go out of their way to buy a Nissan Cube. Why? All the cars in the world you have to choose from, and you choose the car that looks like a box. If you've ever seen, I'm going to put some pictures up. I'm going to put some pictures up around me so you guys can see, or if you're listening to this, so you can see the design of this car. If you've never seen a Nissan Cube before, shield your eyes and don't look, because I don't know why. I don't know. Mate, are they easier to park? Or I think the only thing that's probably worse is those stupid little smart cars. Do you remember? Maybe I don't know if they still make them or not. They were like those tiny. They looked like you fit a push bike inside a car and you just rode around. They were so small, and I'm pretty sure they maxed out at about 80 k's an hour, because I remember seeing them on the highway, and every single it's the only, I drive a 98 Corolla. The only thing shitter than my car is the Nissan Cube, but the only thing that's it's an old car. It's like the paint's peeling off, and I still, whenever I drove past the smart car, I still felt like I was an elitist in a better car, in a 98 Corolla, because the thing, it looked like I could flip the car. And I mean, I can deadlift a ridiculously small amount, and I still reckon I could have flipped this smart car. It's small cars, obviously small cars. I don't like this smart. It looks, if you hit a kangaroo, that kangaroo would slice straight through the damn car. I don't understand. I don't understand. If Tesla can make a sports car that is run by electricity, why do these smart cars have to be so small? And the fact, the only reason I would buy a smart car or buy a Nissan Cube is if someone said, hey, if you buy this car, we'll literally pay you to drive it. Every kilometer you drive, we'll give you $8. That's very specific, but $8. Every time you drive this car, we'll give you $8. I'll be like, give it to me. Yep, I'll jump in this death trap. Give me that $8 a kilometer. But I just don't understand, like, who walks into a car dealership, sees this Nissan Cube. The sound of it is even Nissan Cube. You sound like you just sound like a dweeb saying it. Yeah, I just picked up my Nissan Cube. Just, and if you look at the design of the car, it just it doesn't look finished. It looks like a Minecraft car. Like if you were to make a car in Minecraft, that is what the Nissan Cube would look like. And I just hate it. The first thing I literally saw the Nissan Cube, and I was just driving home, and I immediately felt angry for no reason. And I don't get that angry that often. But I was just like, this car is just, it's just the worst. So I had to rant. I've been saving that rant up because now that I've noticed it, I see them freaking everywhere, and I just see these people in the cars like driving like, oh, look at my Cube-ish car, look at me. If I wanted to roll my car, I would just, you could put wheels on the roof and the thing could spin and continue driving. That is how Cube-ish the car is. It looks like you could park it in a fridge. Like you just slot it in next to your apples. Like you just, yuck. Ugh. Don't buy a Nissan Cube, please. Go buy a Prius. If you're gonna buy a shitty car, go buy a Prius. Okay, if you want people to think you're an idiot in your car, just accept it. Get a Prius. You're done. Don't worry about these smart cars. Don't worry about these Cubes. Just get a Prius, because then you can just be like, yep, douchebag, all good. I'm ready. This is coming from someone who has a '98 Corolla that he bought for $2,000, but still, yeah, but. I hate when you notice things. Once you know, it's like when you notice a habit of somebody's. You're like I don't know. You notice your mate picks his nose, and you're not someone who's a fan of picking noses. I don't know if anyone's a fan of picking noses, but as soon as you see your mate pick their nose every time, it just infuriates you for no reason. You're like you'll be doing your own thing, and then over the other side of the room you'll see your mate just like picking his nose, and you'd be like, dude, it's disgusting. Why are you doing this? Who does this? This all comes from the Nissan Cube. I'm sorry to anyone if now you know the Nissan Cube, because I've put so many photos up that you're going to be like, shit, I know that car, and I see it everywhere now. Apologies. If you have a Nissan Cube and you're listening to this podcast whilst driving your Nissan Cube, I hope you have a great day driving in your shitty vehicle, because it sucks and you should really look into a new car. Sorry, it's true, you got to do it. Don't worry about it, don't worry about me. Let's do it. God, that got me sweaty. Now I'm questioning why I wore this hockey jersey. Yeah, but that's enough ranting. I'm done with the rant. I had to get that rant out. I had to get the Cube rant out. I hate it. Now I'm not going to talk about it anymore. No more Cubes. But it's been it has been a good week. Despite that moment of driving home and seeing it, but it has been a really good week. I've been lacking a lot of motivation though lately for gym. I don't know if anyone else does this, but you kind of. So I locked myself in for this 6-week challenge, and I feel like it was a bit of a mistake, because gym for me was always something that I could do by choice. It was always like, oh yeah, I'm choosing to do this. I like this. Getting up early is fun. But as soon as you put like I don't know, I wouldn't say a restriction, but it's like as soon as you put like I have to be there, it starts to feel a little bit like work. Like, I guess that's why I kind of enjoy this so much, because it's there. I can do this whenever I want. Like if I like today, it's Saturday morning, I got all my chores done, because I still do chores. Released episode 10. Go check that out if you haven't already. And then I could just sit down and be like, yep, I'm here. Let's get this going. But when you kind of you set yourself like I have to do this at this time, you tend to kind of look at it more as a chore rather than like, I really want to be here. And like I've noticed myself kind of like, I wouldn't say like, oh, I don't want to go. But I've noticed myself like, oh, like I'm already buggered. Like, oh, do I have to? Who's really going to care if I don't go? So I think battling with that internally is always hard. And especially when you set yourself like a high standard. So for example, like I go pretty frequently to my gym, and I kind of made a point when I decided to commit to like a gym that I was going to go like 5 times a week. And then when you start to do a couple of weeks where you do 5 times a week, and then some weeks you'll do 4, you kind of feel like you let yourself down a bit, which when you think about it, like for someone who never worked out ever, going to 5 days a week, and then some weeks you'll do 4 and you'll kind of like, no, I wouldn't say hate yourself, but you kind of mentally punish yourself a little bit. It's a real hard thing to kind of battle with. So like, it's like anything. Like if you set yourself up like you were like, I'm going to take my dog walking 5 times this week. And then, you get 4 times in. And all of a sudden you've done majority of the work. Like you only miss one day, but you kind of like hating on yourself a little bit, or you got that internal build up of like, oh shit, like I've stuffed up. When in reality, like you're not far off the target. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm a little bit too self-critical on myself when I set myself standards, but I don't know. It's hard because you don't want to punish yourself for doing, majority good. And I know there's that aspect of like discipline, and everyone talks about discipline. Like, if you set yourself a goal, you need to follow it through. But, sometimes just getting close enough is still a positive. And I mean, if you're someone who is, just starting out with something, like, so for example, like if you're doing your own podcast, or you're streaming, or you're just starting to work out, or you're just starting to play a sport, and you commit to yourself like, I'm going to do this for this amount of time, or I'm going to do this many times this week, and you don't quite get there. But I still think, you should still be stoked. You should still be really, really, stoked that you're still doing it. You're still getting after it. So, and I find that's definitely a lot with me. I got really disheartened when I stopped recording the podcast. I got really disheartened that, I really wanted to do this. I hyped it up so much, and now I've kind of given up a little bit, when in reality, like I hadn't given up. I was just, interested in other things. So I don't know, I'm kind of rambling, but that's definitely a thought that I've been battling with a little bit this week. And I guess it's kind of first world problems. Like you don't really have many problems, so you have to create them. But for me, that's something, I really have to kind of battle in my brain. Like I feel like you're yourself's biggest critic, and I think you can make as many people as you want happy, but if you're not making yourself happy, like what is going to make you happy? Yeah, that got really deep. I'm starting to get a sweat up. Immediately after, like as I started, I put on my hoodie, and then I chucked my hockey jersey over it for those of you just listening. And I didn't realize it's about 27 degrees. And then I think there was just a cold breeze coming through. And as soon as I close the door, I'm sitting in a bloody sauna. Oh well, I'm motoring through. Podcasting's hard work, man. It's hard work. Yeah. I spoke last week. Last episode I brought it up, and I don't know why I brought it up, but I started talking about The Bachelor. And I have not watched a single episode of The Bachelor because I am an elitist and I only do reading with my AirPods in. But I saw a Facebook article. My brother tagged me in a Facebook article. We were looking, and I don't know, we kind of take the piss out of it a little bit, even though we don't watch it. Apologies to anyone that does watch The Bachelor. Good for you. Don't hate on pro wrestling. If you're watching The Bachelor, it's pretty much exactly the same thing. But like an article came out. So old mate said he was an astrophysicist. An astrophysicist. I don't know if anyone has seen The Big Bang Theory, but those are what I imagine astrophysicists to look like. This dude is a hunk. If you actually thought that this dude was an astrophysicist, if he was an astrophysicist, I would be extremely jealous, because you shouldn't be able to look like that and be that smart. It's not fair. It's not fair for the world. sucks, especially for this. I'm not smart and I'm not good looking, so I kind of got caught in the middle. Rough. And then old mate's, looks like a supermodel and he works with space. Nah, not fair. But anyway, it's come out that people have done their research. Look at all these bloody online, they're doing their research, like, yeah, what's going on? Nah, this dude, nah, don't trust him. And found out that the old mate is not an astrophysicist, unfortunately. Shock. He works at NAB. He works at a bank. So I find that really funny. So funny. If that doesn't, put into perspective reality TV, I don't know what is. It becomes more and more and more like pro wrestling. So please don't hate on pro wrestling because it is literally the same thing. But yeah, old mate works at NAB. I think the unfortunate thing about that is I was reading through comments, and I know, I'm my own worst enemy. I shouldn't be reading through comments. But I was reading through the comments, and the dude was getting roasted for working at a bank. Working at a bank's still a great job, but he was getting roasted well, I thought he was smarter than that. Motherfucker, you need to be smart to work in a bank still. You can't be an idiot and work in a bank. But yeah, so the poor dude has probably lost a few followers on his gram because, apparently ladies don't like blokes that work in a bank. So that's rough. Poor bloke. But it definitely shows, what reality TV's is kind of like and where it's at. I love it, to be honest. Reality TV is hilarious. I was a Geordie Shore addict back in the day when MTV used to binge them. You could binge them and download them on Foxtel. And that used to, it was like doing a workout, a really rigorous workout. It hurt so much, but you got to get to the end. You can't quit halfway. You had to get to the end of the season. And then, after a workout, you're like, oh, man, well, I'll be back tomorrow. And that was me with Geordie Shore. I'd get through a season. I'd be like, oh, man, what's going on with Gaz? Oh, what's going on with Charlotte? Oh, look, Sophie's got her titties out again. And then I'd be like, nah, no more. Cut the power cord. Don't watch it anymore. Next day, I'd watch the next season, and I'd hate myself even more. So yeah, reality TV, you gotta love it. I haven't been watching a lot though. Like I said last episode, I've kind of given away TV a fair bit, which is good. I feel like I'm getting a lot more shit done, and that whether it's shit seeing more people or I don't know, spending time on myself too. I've started writing a lot. Writing is it seems kind of stupid, but I tend to just write out scenarios in my head. I wrote out, about the Nissan Cube and how much I hated it. And it actually kind of was like a release. It felt good to write, which it seems lame, and it's not a diary or anything, but to have ideas, ideas, when you have an idea, whether it's good or bad or just out of the world, I think it's important to still write, record it, because the amount of times people tell me about good ideas that they they'll tell me one day about their idea, and then I'll follow them up and I'll be like, hey, do you remember when you said that? And they were like, nah, I don't actually. There's so many good ideas. I see it at school. I see the kids with ideas, and I think it's really, really cool that they can comprehend this stuff. And yeah, I don't know. For me, I've started it does help. I listen to a lot of comedy podcasts, and I'm really into I love watching and understanding the process behind stand-up comedy. So I kind of have adopted that mentality to write, ideas that I have in my head. And for me, it's really helped me kind of understand, if I write an idea out and then I put it on paper, it really helps me kind of understand, hey, that's weird that my brain kind of came up with that. Where did that stem from? And I find I understand myself a lot more if I do that, if that makes any sense. Maybe. Makes sense to me. if that resonates with you and if you feel like you're not alone now, I got your back. Nothing wrong with a good writing sesh. I actually sat down yesterday with a beer and had a writing sesh, got out all my ideas. I felt like it's like when you clean your computer storage up. You get rid of all this and you put it on paper and you kind of bank it in a hard drive, and then you can kind of forget about it. So it might even work if you're pissed off at someone. You're like, yeah, fuck that guy. And then write it out. Like, man, he really annoyed me. Get it off your chest and just close that book up. Get rid of it. Yeah. Far out. That went quick. These half-hour podcasts are flying through. I didn't even get it through everything. I'll have to wait for the next episode. I think I went too hard in the paint on the Nissan Cube. Anyway, guys, that is episode 11. Yes, 11 of the Inner City Hermit podcast. If you are enjoying the podcast, you're enjoying listening to me unpack and unravel my brain right in front of this camera. I would love it if you could, if you want to, subscribe, hit the notification button, go subscribe on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, do whatever you want, I don't really care. If you're listening to me in the car, you know what I always say, have a fucking ripper day at work. If you've had a pretty shitty morning, don't worry, the day's going to get better. If you've battled through work and you got to the end, congrats mate, you made it, go home, have a beer, well done. And if it's your weekend, just enjoy it. Go spend some time with someone you love and let them know that you care about them, because like I always say, the world's a shitty place, so we need to make it brighter. And get amongst it, have a fantastic whatever you're doing, and peace out, hermits. See you later.
Well, I got lost in you, and now I don't